Um, Next is from David Barnett, and the subject is gimmick match.
I gotta say
Hey,
before we start this email, David's clearly a newer listener, so I'm going
okay.
to plead for his not to get suspended. Obviously, this is an innocent question that he didn't know the answer to. So
Hey guys, I was watching some old TNA yesterday and it got me wondering about the Ultimate X match, my favorite gimmick match of all time. Were either or both of you working there at the time the match was conceptualized? If so, I was just curious what the creative process was like. Could you provide a bit of behind the scenes insight to the Ultimate X and who was involved with the idea? Also, on a quasi related note, I heard you guys ripping on AEW's giant golden ring from the ladder match. Disco, I know you think it looks like a child-sized life preserver. While that's a valid point personally, I think it looks more like one of those inflatable rubber rings you would sit on after having ass surgery. It's a golden hemorrhoid ring. Cheers, gentlemen. David. That's actually true. It could be a golden hemorrhoid ring. David, I don't know if you've listened to the show before, but I'm the one that invented the Ultimate X match. It was my idea, and the concept was we were trying to come up with different types of matches. And I just said this would be a cool match to have on a video game if TNA gets a video game. And I was just thinking like this would be a cool little like thing. So I was like
is that true?
that's
Because
all.
I saw in like a history of TNA video that Don Callis says he invented the Ultimate
Absolutely
X match.
not,
That's
and
what he
that's been
said.
proven that
Okay,
that was a
I
lie.
was
Yeah,
there in
History's written
TNA.
by the winners, you know.
I was
So
there in TNA when it happened, and the two things I can say, Don Callis did come up with the idea. That's
complete
number one,
false.
and number two, a lot of people regard after the reverse battle royal that being the second worst idea in the history of TNA, and I disagree. I think it was a worse. But anyways, next letter.
Well, first of all, I'm considering leaving the show because one
Okay,
of the things
you can
that
go
we
to
don't
Vince Russo. I heard he pays well.
one of the things
Nothing.
that we do not endorse in the show is misinformation, and you
hmm.
just provide a lot of misinformation right
Oh, I
now.
was there, bro.
You're lying. You're misinformed.
Maybe I
Next is
was
some
misinformed.
Roland C. Bonet, and the subject is Reigns and Rhodes for President. What's up, guys? Just wondering if any of you caught the clip after Raw in Boston where John Cena brings out Cody Rhodes to almost endorse him as the new face of the company. With Cody coming out in his suit and the huge patriotic imagery of the Tron in the background, I got vibes of a candidate vying to become the next president of the United States. In a way, this year's WrestleMania main event has that presidential race feel to it. Hogan Warrior and Austin Rocket Mania 17 were the only two WrestleMania title matches to have this feel, where the winner isn't predictable, in my opinion. It's almost like the fans will decide the winner as the debates go on between Roman and Cody. The crowd should be electric for this one, a very mixed crowd. Who are you voting for? Well, I'm going to vote for the guy that I think is going to win. I think it's going to be Cody. Even though they could just keep it on Reigns. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it's time for him to lose, though, right?
Yeah, I think it should go to Cody, and let's start some new going on. You know, even though Roman's reign has been phenomenal and everything there's been great, give Cody a shot. The crowd's behind him, so
Uh, you got any comment on that, Conan?
Yeah, I think you got to give the rub to somebody. Might as well be Cody, super over. And that might have been part of the thing to entice him to come. Hey, we'll give you the belt at WrestleMania.
Next is from our boy Brian Dunlop, and the subject is TNA Circa 2010 versus WWE and AEW Circa 2022-23. Hello, Conan Disco. TNA Impact Wrestling had a stacked roster in 2010 when they tried going head-to-head with WWE. If this era of TNA time traveled to 2023 or 22, would they have a better chance of competing with Monday Night Raw? Would AEW still be considered the number 2 USA wrestling company with 2010's TNA in the picture? I don't. It's kind of a weird. I don't know. I mean, if half those guys are working in WWE now, so you wouldn't have. I don't. Yeah, like if you had the TNA roster, yeah, they could be pretty good. Like
Well,
they'd be able to
lem-
compete. I think.
that was a stacked roster. I mean, he's right about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they weren't able to compete in 2010. What makes you think they would compete now? WWE is such a monster, bro. I
Yeah.
mean, look at AEW with all the names they have.
Yeah. Next is from Dale M. Fortunio, and the subject is this makes sense, right? What's up, gang? Picture this. Someone has been talking crap about you and your family for so long you've had enough. You start fighting them within 20 seconds, you help the guy back up so that he can punch you in the face. This is exactly what Moxley and Page did. Their promos of hate were pretty believable, but it gets thrown out the window once they take turns hitting each other. For someone that prides himself to be tough, Moxley throws all credibility out the window when he starts letting his own opponent hit him with a terrible forearm. If you're running a business, what would you say to anyone that does that, and why can't anyone throw a good-looking punch anymore? Bonus: any memorable songs you've seen a stripper dance to at a club? I saw a chick dance to Night Songs by Cinderella once, and damn, thanks and go Isles. This guy just endorsed the Islanders. We're gonna have to suspend him for a week for that because I was a Ranger fan growing up. So Dale,
uh,
unfortunately, you're gonna get a no. But you're absolutely right. You're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Bro, the forearm spot, because so many guys do it now, right? It looks like atrocious, terrible psychology. It just makes no sense. Like, you could see like a blood feud where maybe this is the third or fourth match these guys have had, and they've been beating each other up, and it's down to, they've been in the ring for 15 minutes, and they get up and they look at each other and they just start doing it, right? But bro, this happens in literally every match on the shows these days. And it does not make any sense whatsoever but for you to let the guy stand there and let a guy hit you in the face. It's stupid. And when people see this, like this guy, Dale Fortunio, it does look stupid. Not just to me, So what do you got to say about that, Conan?
Well, I think just like there's a lot of influence of lucha in wrestling today, there's a lot of influence from Japan, which is where they got it from. The problem is the Japanese guys, just like the lucha guys, they lay it in and they know how to make it look good, and then
Right.
A lot of these people are just copying it since they're too lazy, they don't know how to throw a punch. They do these really weak looking, unbelievable forearms. I don't have any problem within the confines of a match doing forearms because we have our own rules. This is not really a street fight. This is not UFC. This is wrestling, and we have our own rules. So forearms is part of the game right now. But if you're going to do it, make it look good and lay it in, or you don't have to potato the guy, but they do it so weak and it just looks like a high spot nowadays. I forearm you, you forearm me, I forearm you, you forearm me, just to get a pop. And so, yeah, I don't have any problem with forearms. It's just the people that don't know how to do it. And of course, if somebody's throwing, and bro, when Moxley's in there with Page, he has no idea if the forearm looks good or bad. He's in the middle of the match thinking
Right.
of what comes next and what he's doing and working the crowd and, trying, so he doesn't know it looks bad until he watches it afterwards.
Next is from Ick5150, and the subject is random questions. Sup, squad? Disco, you see Evil Uno's bounce like an episode of Baywatch on Dynamite? Reverse effect of that slow-mo Pam Anderson run. Conan, what the hell is going on with Chess? What the hell is Conan going on with Conan? What the hell is going on with Chessman and smacking that dude? And who's he got dirt on that he's still in the roster? Shouldn't Larry Dallas have a Spanish phrase of the week like Kleinrock? It might help him. Jojo, did you know about Justice Payne's death when it happened? I knew the guy used to be into that scene, but I didn't know until Nick Gage's Dark Side episode.
Yeah, Justice Payne was Nick Gage's brother, Conan. He was a CZW wrestler, deathmatch guy, and he died a few years back. Jumped off a bridge.
You mean really? Committed suicide?
Yeah.
That sucks. P.S. Shout out to Bam. Bam is getting a shout out. I don't know why.
Yeah, Bam from the Discord.
So shouldn't Larry Dallas have a Spanish phrase of the week like Kleinrock? Well, we keep getting all these Spanish experts that don't know how to speak Spanish. The Mexican wrestling experts that don't know how to speak Spanish. So yeah, Larry should learn how to speak Spanish. And Conan, what happened with Chessman? I don't know this story.
I spoke about it last week. As usual, you don't listen to the Lucha Libre thing, but so some influencer, very famous influencer, was.
Oh, I did remember this guy.
Yeah, was at the show and he got smacked, and Chessman got suspended for 2 weeks, and I think he has to apologize to the guy too.
What are the rules in Mexico?
You're not going to fire him for that. The guy could have charged him with assault.
Right? Because I remember Scott Hall had slapped somebody, and he had said that it cost him $40,000.
Right. He could have, bro. Yeah, he could, and he even said, "I'm not going to sue Chessman. I'm going to sue AAA." So, from what I understand, he's got to go give him a public apology somewhere. I don't know where it is. I think next week. But he was suspended for 2 weeks. We're not going to fire him over that. But he is suspended. He was talked to, and he's on probation. And so I spoke to him too. Yeah, so do I.
Next
Especially
is from James.
Nothing.
Next is from James Fogel. What's up, guys? Big fan of the show, and I respect the work you put in the wrestling business. One thing that sucks is all these new podcasts is they don't value wrestling people who were in the wrestling business when the business was hot. Not be confused with WWE's brand being hot right now in the Bloodline story. I have a that's true though. You guys make a good point here right off the bat. I have a hypothetical question. Do you feel like wrestling is still a credible brand, and do you think you could do numbers on the Superstation day in the same time slot, running on the same premise that they had already won, not spending big money and not doing big things production-wise? I mean, I can't even watch AEW as a wrestling fan who watches for believability, storyline, and star power. To be honest, I really feel like AEW is a knockoff WWE. They're just really bad at it. I hope my email wasn't too long, and I hope you guys could dive into my question. I'd love to hear what you think. It just sucks as a wrestling fan like myself. It's not really a lot of options. WWE and the Bloodline story is hot. MJF and Jake Cargill look like stars, but something's just not right with that company. So what is the question here? I have a hypothetical question. Do you think NWA Wrestling is still a credible brand?
Mm-hmm.
And do you think it could do numbers on the Superstation Day in the same time slot? No, not the NWA Wrestling. No, they're too. First of all, they don't have enough talent. Like they don't have a lot of. They've got a few guys on that roster that are talented, but like all the other talent has gone to AEW and WWE.
Right.
You know, what do you think about this, Conan?
Well, here's the thing: they have some talent, but in wrestling, just like in anything else, it's a marquee issue. If you don't have names, you're gonna be slotted, underneath the big two. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they have enough names to compete with anybody. They do have talent because there's a lot of talent out there, but you need marquee names, and all of them are in WWE and AEW.
Yeah.
If I certainly would have kept Aldis and kept him on top. I don't know what the thinking was behind letting Nick go. He was like the face of the NWA
Well,
for a
obviously,
while.
him and Corrigan had a difference.
Yeah.
Next is from Ganda Chanko, and subject is Brock the Smart. Well, what's going on with Nick Aldis too? By the way, I thought he'd be signed somewhere by now.
Yeah, that's weird.